Alright guys, I bring a video that I think might be really useful for those in the competitive Yu-Gi-Oh scene, because I think a lot of people just don't really know how to side deck. So what I want to do is show people how to correctly side deck. And it's not a case of you throw your favourite 5 3-ofs in your side deck. That's just not how it works. Like, you need to make sure that your side deck covers all the matchups that you deem to be relevant at the event. And you do this by listing all the decks that you think are going to be relevant at the event. So I guess let's just start with step 1, list the decks at your event. For this format, I would assume that the most relevant ones are stuff like Goki, Sky Striker, Trickstar Sky Striker, Altergeist, Drako. And so once you've made a list of what decks are relevant, and then you look at what potential cards you could play, so you don't really get 15 cards, you just get like a pile of stuff that you think is good. And then you look into seeing how many you can put in your side deck for each matchup. So as a sample to show you how side decking is done going forward, I'm going to use my German Open deck profile as an example as to how you would work your side in and out. So you look at your main deck, as I've got here, that you deem to be the best 40 or 40 odd cards that you think your deck can possibly be for that event. Just work out the side patterns by separating the engine cards and the deck requirements from the cards that aren't engine cards. So if you look in this deck, you take away all the extenders and the starter cards and the combo pieces, and then you see we're left with 8 non-engine cards, so the 3 mid-breakers, 3 twins, and the 2 Godalas. So that means I have space to side out maximum 8 cards per matchup. So then you compare those 8 cards that you can side out and see whether they're good against the list of matchups that we've already said. For example, when we pick Goki, you can see that going first, you don't want to keep in the Godalas and twins. So that means you need to side 5 cards going first against Goki. So the side that we currently have, we would just throw in 3 Call by the Grave and I guess 2 of the hand traps, just so you have something to defend yourself in case you get hand traps, so maybe like 2 Ogres or 2 Impermanents or something. Then going second, the side pattern will change, so you can side in 3 Cherries and 3 Ogre. But a hand trap is probably more desirable than Godala in this case, so you could probably just side out the Godala for 2 more Impermanents. So the next example is Sky Striker. In this scenario, I built my deck to beat Sky Striker, so the 8 cards that I could potentially side out, I wouldn't want to side out. With the exception of maybe Godala, as Godala's not a good going first card, so I could potentially side in Call by the Graves instead. And then going second, the deck was built to beat Sky Striker, so you just keep it the same. Then moving on to Trickstar Sky Striker is another example. So going first, you don't want the Kaijus again, so you just take out the Kaijus for like 2 Call by the Graves, I guess. And then going second, you want to keep in the twins and the mid shield breakers, so you can stop their like impermanents and Widowwankers and hand traps and stuff. And you can take out the 2 Godalas for 2 reboots if you think like it's a trap heavy Trickstar Sky Striker deck. And then fourth, Altergeist. Going first against Altergeist, you can take out the 2 Godalas, as midfield breaker and twin can have applications going first against Altergeist. And you can just whack in 2 reboots. And if you feel like reboot is better than either the twin or the mid shield breaker, by all means you can swap them out and put in the 3rd red reboot, as you have the freedom to do so, as those 8 cards are to your disposal to just swap in and out going first or second depending on what the matchup, and depending on whether you feel like any card in the side is better than something in your main deck. And then going second, you can just take out the mid shield breakers and the Godalas for like red reboot, and the Kaijus are still pretty decent against all the guys who when they make Silgatois or whatever it's called. And then when the Drako matchup against Drako, you just don't want to lose the floodgate, so you would just side out going first your mid shield breaker and your Kaijus for stuff like red reboot and 2 impermanents. And then going second, you would take out the mid shield breakers for the 3 red reboot, and maybe side out the Godalas for the impermanents, depending on what you're scared of. Either you'd rather just Kaiju the Drako monsters and then just beat them that way, or put in an impermanent so that you can out their floodgates. So you can see in conclusion by the end of that, I haven't sided correctly. So if I just deem these as the only matchups, bear in mind there could be more, but we're just using these as an example. So you see that I haven't sided in the 3rd impermanence at all. So that just could have been like an extra card I could have sided in against one of these matchups to make those matchups better. Like it could have been like a going first side card for Goki instead of just putting 2 hand traps in, or it could have been a card that would have been better against Altergeist, and you could potentially lose matches in a tournament just because you've sided incorrectly, and you play more side matches than you do game ones, so it only makes sense for you to want to make sure that your side deck is perfect. And thank you very much. I hope that you found that really useful. Side decking is something that I think is particularly hard to master, as it's something that I've only got a grip of myself most recently. And if you have any more advice for me as to how to improve side decking, be sure to leave that in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. See you later.